if a woman is a 6, she's not looking for another 6. She's looking for a guy who's a 7. From an evolutionary perspective, that makes the most sense, the most pragmatic way to do it. She's looking for something that is above that. That's what we call an attraction floor. So her attraction floor is a 6. I need a guy who is comparatively a 6 or above. And if the guy's a 6, she's looking for a 7. If she can get a 7 or an 8 or a 9, then so much the better. And she has to change her behavior to maintain that sort of sexual market value ratio kind of imbalance kind of thing.
What of everything you just said would apply specifically to women and not to men, in the sense that, do you think that a man who's a 6 wouldn't like a 7? And that if they had a 7, they would like an 8 and a 9. And so can you kind of help me understand in what ways this female strategy differs from exactly what I see sometimes, which is a guy who isn't particularly ambitious or successful or smart, also isn't particularly focused on physical attractiveness, isn't particularly skilled in hobbies, but does think that they deserve their dream girl.
Okay. So here, again, this is sort of this equal and opposite reaction. Okay. What I'm talking about here is I'll get you a question, but like to get there, I have to define this for you, is that for women, they do not have an for men, as Charlie was saying, is that they don't have men don't have an attraction floor. So guys will be like, nobody's ugly after 2 a.m. Again, unlimited access to unlimited sexuality.
This is one I strongly disagree with. I know one guy like this. They call him SEAL Team 6 because he comes in at the end of the night. And if you're talking to a girl, he's going to talk to the friend.
No, my experience is
every other friend goes home.
Yeah, if I'm talking to a pretty girl and she has a friend and I ask a friend to please come help, talk to this girl, sleep with her, more often than not, by a large majority, they'll just be like, nah. I'm gonna go on my own.
I'll beyond even go try and find someone. I will go home and play video games. I will opt out. So this is something that when I read, I was like, I do not see this play out in my own life. That I think a lot of people say no more often than they say yes and sleep alone all the time. So how does that connect?
Okay, let me ask you this: if you had sex with those girls, would you get pregnant and have a survival issue by getting pregnant?
No. I would feel guilty. Right? I would feel guilty for not wanting to see them again.
Exactly. So when we look at
women's encounter, and
when we look at women's biological imperatives, they have to pick the best of the best. In fact, hypergamy can't afford not to pick the best of the best. That's why women rely on their friends for social proof and pre-selection, because it can't afford not to get with the guy who they think is the best. That's the existential fear I remember I told you the existential fear for men was paternity, right? To get cuckolded. For women, it is to breed with an alpha male, to breed with a beta male who she thought was alpha, who got around that hypergamous filter, who tricked her well enough to get her into bed and to possibly impregnate her. And you want to know why it is that women will kick you in the nuts and we laugh at it, or they'll if you're man spreading, they'll go and pour water or bleach on your nuts. It's because it's attacking.
This is the thing. This never happened.
Never seen.
Well, but here's the thing: is the attack. It doesn't have to necessarily be that. It's the attack on male. Have you ever had a woman say the first thing?
That guy's got a small dick. Yeah,
the woman hates you. You got a small dick. Why is that the go-to insult? Because what it's saying is you are not worth breeding with. That's what that means. You're disqualified because you're a beta male, you're a chump, you're trying to pass. In fact, that's the reason why women get pissed off at like beta male guys, is because they're trying to, it's like a woman discovers that guy is actually beta male and he's trying to pass himself off as an alpha, as being like a 7. That means she says, I'm worthy of at least a 7, or he's not good enough. Remember, we talk about leagues, like she's out of your league. The idea of leagues is all tied into hypergamy. He's out of your league, or she's out of your league. The reason we say that is because she is a 7 and you're maybe a 6, and you're going, oh, okay. Well, and again, this is all abstracts here, but let's just say for sake of argument, you're a 6, she's a 7. Then you go, okay, she's out of my league. I'm not even going to try. You've just disqualified yourself from at least from her as a reproductive choice for yourself. I don't necessarily think that's a good idea, but that's the way we tend to think, is in terms of leagues, right? For men, we don't have the same reproductive investment costs that women do. So for women, if a woman gets pregnant by a guy who she thought was alpha and eventually turned out beta, that could be a very bad thing for her for the rest of her life if she has the kid. You want to know why women will fight tooth and nail for abortion? It's because it's a fail-safe against that existential fear. So when a guy gets in there and suddenly she goes, oh my God, he's actually a beta, I can kill the kid. Oh, okay, I'm good. Now I can continue to see if I can find a better guy than that. For men don't have that reproductive cost. So a woman who is, if you're a 6, you're happy to get with a 5, maybe a 4, but you would love to get with, the hottest chick you can get with, right? You want to get with a 9, but in a pinch, if you are in such a state of scarcity and such a state of, I don't have opportunities, like what we were just talking about with the strategic pluralism theory. I got to put all of my eggs in one basket. You want to know why guys become serial monogamists? It's because they think all these girls are out of my league, but this one that is in my league, I'm going to put everything into this girl because she's the one for me. I got to make her see, because if I don't, I'm not going to solve my reproductive problem. So for guys, the mating strategy is what means what women are hypergamous and men are not hypergamous. So like you say, well, I wouldn't jump on a grenade for my friend, as a wingman or something. Yeah, you might not do that. But for men, sex is like a utility, right? It's like taking I think Tom Likas said this. He said, it's like taking a piss. You would love to go take a piss at, the Bellagio with gold-plated faucets in a China toilet or whatever. But if you're on the road and you really got to go, a dirty, a dirty garage or a gas station bathroom will do just as well, or Walmart, right? So it's just the function and the investment cost in searching for a mate.
So again, this does not track at all with any of my life experience. My concern here, and I know you might not like this, is that this to me sounds ideological, how men are and how women are, based on a past that, and I like evolutionary psychology. I think it's incredibly informative, but I think it needs bounds and limitations. Perhaps. And I think we've been sort of coming around this point for a while, but the way that men are and the way that women are, to me, cannot be subtracted out from, of course, individual differences. And I'm not saying we're all blank slates, but there's going to be individual genetic things, and maybe men are more emotional, et cetera. But also the upbringing, the 18 years of the way that people are. So to me, what men are when they're born, and whatever an fMRI shows of a guy when he's 20, seems to involve so much culture that to say that this is the way that men are, men don't have a floor, when in the world it's like they have floors. It's just like a fact of society as I encounter it and I see it, that they regularly say no to sex for reasons that perhaps were instilled in them, but are still real and binding nonetheless. So it seems useless to say that men don't have a floor in some idealized state where there is no culture telling them that they shouldn't, when in fact
let me tell you why that kind of offends your sensibilities here. Okay. Because if your sexual strategy is to put all of your eggs in one basket, to be monogamous,
no, but
like you're brought up.
I was not monogamous for 10 years and I definitely had a floor.
Okay. So you
were not monogamous for your 20s, right? Do you
right,
think
exactly.
Do you truly think that you had no floor?
So you'll tell me that there wasn't one girl who was like the one fat girl in your past, the one girl that was like, really wanted to go and you were there, and you were drunk, she was cute, and one thing led to another?
Is your theory that women don't have outliers as well?
I don't think that they have outliers in the same way that men have outliers. Like men in general, I think that there's a reason for the idiom, which is, no one's ugly after 2 a.m. Guys will be happy to get okay. So let's just say, for sake of argument, you're a 6 and a girl who's like a 4 wants to get with you. If you've had 4 beers in you, you'll probably bang that girl. All right. The reason why this kind of offends a lot of guys' sensibilities is because if I say this and you agree to it, then any potential girl who sees this video or hears you say that is now going to say, well, is that what he's really about?
Oh, it's just not my experience.
You're believing that your quality is based on, well, I have standards. Here's a test about standards.
Can I ask a genuine question? So you were in a band touring around, you called it your Rockstar 20s, 365 days in a year, 10 years, 3,000 women. Did you sleep with 2,000 women every other day? Did
No.
you find, so you could have though, right?
No,
Absolutely. You
there's
could have.
logistics. There's logistics involved. Okay. So we have to look at logistics.
But
Okay. So you can't just go and say,
do you agree that you could have if you had no floor?
I double shifted. Let's just say that.
Sure. But
it's,
so if it's not in the thousands, then surely you said no more often than you said yes, right?
well, it wasn't more about, it wasn't, okay. So here's the thing is it opportunity or is it actually saying no or saying yes? There are several times that I've said no, but I said yes more than I said no. Put it that way. So are there standards? Are there things that you'll do? Like, here's the thing is it logistics or is it a standard? Because I'll tell you right now, if you go on Twitter right now, and I've done this experiment a million times. If you go on Twitter right now and you said, ladies, if you really want to get a man, here are 6 things that you need to do: grow your hair long, stay thin, learn how to cook, have some standards, right? Just 6 standards. That tweet will go viral overnight because men are not allowed to have standards. That's the thing is that we've been taught that, well, really since the sexual revolution, but we've been taught that we are not allowed to say what we want. Well, you want to know why fat acceptance is a thing right now? It's because men are not allowed to have standards. We're supposed to believe that it's what's on the inside that counts and not what's on the outside that counts. And that because you are male, you should you should think that beauty is a social construct rather than actually being something that is biological, something that triggers your brain, like a hips to waist ratio or big boobs or a nice ass or whatever it is you're into. But to have those, even to express those standards right now, I'm not allowed to do that as a man, because if I do that, then I turn into a misogynist. Then I turn into a chauvinist or a typical guy. Women, on the other hand, can say, I want a guy that looks like this. He's got to have a V-taper. And other girls will just pile on and say, yeah, because only women are allowed to have standards. That's what I'm talking about. That's why women are hypergamous. Men are not. If men can be held in a state where they are not allowed to have standards, then it doesn't matter whether I say, unlimited access to unlimited sexuality anymore, because you're silenced. We don't want to hear from you.
Well, I do agree the double standard on a woman being able to say she wants the 666 club and a guy not being able to say the equivalent, that seems completely unfair and unfounded. That is more in regard to what public speech is allowed. And when I see the no floor thing, I see it more in terms of people's actions. And like I said, I loved this one friend I had who had no floor. Mm-hmm. Perfect wingman. Loved him. Mm-hmm. I only ever found one. And so it's just not, and again, this is just my experience. I don't know if there's data that says I'm wrong. I don't know if your experience contracts it, but I don't know many men that when I look at their behavior, they have no floor. Even to the extent that they will get drunk and get beer goggles and they'll hook up with a woman that they might not have sober. It's more so that they just have a floor that falls as they drink, but still not to the point where anyone was acceptable regardless of appearance, personality, behavior.